With me in the studio is Baba Issa, who is a lawyer and also a political analyst. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much.
Well, for some people, they would say the defections did not come as a surprise. What they would think is surprising, rather surprising, have been the reactions that have followed the defections. Is it the same for you?
Well, personally, I also think the defection didn't come as a surprise. I wasn't surprised when the defections happened. I feel it rather took too long for the defections to happen. But the whole political ecosystem is going to be changing in alignment with these defections. You understand that? Politics is a game of number. Okay? If I were to be in the APC or if I were to be the APC chairman, I would be worried. Though I heard he say he's not worried, but I would be worried because politics is a game of number. But now there's another angle to it. Another angle to it is that it's like there's a transfer of the theater of drama from the APC to the PDP, because a whole lot of heavyweights who are actually having presidential ambitions are now moving to the PDP. So in the months ahead, we're going to see a lot of drama, we're going to see a lot of implosions, we're going to see a lot of defections and redefections and realignments. So I think we're going to have a sinner climb in the APC where everybody already knows that the president wants a second term, and if you're in the APC, you're already aware that I should shelve my presidential ambition for the president to go for his second term. But in the PDP
it's interesting you're going down that route, which we will come to shortly. I mean, the consequences of that, the fact that the president wants to run a second term, and what that would mean for other presidential aspirants within his party, whether or not there will be a level playing field. But let's come to the defections that have happened so far. I mean, we've seen 3 governors leave. Some of them did that via the Twitter platform. I think the governor of Sokoto State wrote a very long epistle on why he was leaving. We will come to whether or not you were convinced on his reasons or whether or not they matter at all. But then we're beginning to see reactions from the APC asking the Senate president to leave his seat, to resign his position as the Senate president, because they believe that he got that because of, the fact that he's in the APC and they were supposed to be majority in the Senate. And they also say that it is just the honorable thing to do. Do you think that this is an application of double standard, or do you think that this is a very valid call looking at the laws of the land?
Well, I think it's an issue of morality now. If the APC is asking the Senate president to resign because he has defected to the PDP, it's now a question of morality. But if you're looking at it legally speaking, constitutionally speaking, the Senate president has not breached any law if he defects and still remain the Senate president. In fact, if you look at Section 50 of the 1990 Constitution as amended, Section 50 says that the Senate president and the deputy Senate president, the Speaker of the House and the deputy Speaker of the House of the Assembly, shall be elected from amongst themselves. You understand? The Constitution never said anywhere that the Senate president must be a member of the majority party. That's not what the Constitution said. But I will also not ignore the fact that conventions and practice all over the world is that the Senate president or the Speaker of the House of Representatives is usually from the majority party in the House of Representatives or in the Senate. It's common sense, because if you want to elect the leader of the Senate, the leader of the House of Reps, it follows logically that it is the majority in the House that will elect one of them, because the election of the Senate president is usually done by simple majority. You understand that? But this unique situation that we have now, that the Senate president has defected, there is no law that is binding on him or requires him to leave the seat of the Senate president just because he defected. Because the Senate president is supposed to be elected as one amongst many equal. Yes.
It's also very interesting because we're yet to get very clear figures on who precisely
that is another issue.
Is the majority in the Senate
we don't know
today.
Which is the majority. Is it APC? APC is claiming they have the majority. PDP is also claiming that they have the majority. But be that as it may, the only way the Senate president can be removed as the Senate president is by 2/3 majority. So simple majority got him there, but you can only remove him by 2/3 majority. So can the APC get about maybe 63 or 65 senators to remove him.
Perhaps is the reason they are asking him to resign honorably.
Well, that is what I'm saying. That is a moral question now. So if the APC chairman is saying resign, he's asking him to do what he thinks is a moral thing, what he thinks is the right thing. But I'm speaking as a lawyer now. There's no law that says, okay, you've defected, you're no longer qualified to be the Senate president. The Constitution is very clear under Section 50. You can check it out. The Constitution is clear that you elect the Senate president from amongst yourself. The Constitution didn't say amongst a senator of the majority party in the Senate. The Constitution didn't say that.
But it is very interesting because some people argue that the emergence of the Senate president was in spite of the APC, not because of the APC.
That's another beautiful perspective.
So can they really say that, you know, the Senate president got to that position because of the APC?
The Senate president didn't get to become the Senate president with the blessings of the APC. So that is why the analogy of Adams Oshiomhole, that you got the crown from the family, so you're leaving the family, doesn't follow. Because we all know that the Senate president became the Senate president without the blessing of the ruling party. So even if they want to apply the moral question, it's not even going to be totally applicable, because the Senate president can say, you can't ask me to leave because you didn't support me to get here. After all, we have been having a deputy Senate president that have not been a member of the majority party in the Senate. And it has been legal. And it is legal.
How do you think it's going to change the coloration of the politics in the Senate when they finally come back from recess?
Well, I think when they come up from recess, I really want to know who is in the majority in the House. Okay, I want to know. I think they all should be concerned with is who is the majority leader, because I don't know whether it's Akpabio or Lawan. There's a majority leader now, because the rules of the Senate is clear on that the majority leader is actually a leader of the majority in the House. But for the Senate president, no rules. The rules of the House, the Constitution doesn't apply like that. So now, who is actually in the majority is what is going to determine the complexion of the politics in the Senate. We are yet to find that out. Is it the APC? Is it the PDP that is in the majority?
From all your permutations, do you see more governors defecting from the APC to the PDP?
Well, it has become, sadly, it has become a cultural thing in our political ecosystem. So defections no longer surprises me. It's not a surprising thing. If people defect, they will defect, because they defect for their own reasons, for their own selfish reasons, for their own political survival, for their own realignment and alignment to get power. You understand that? So I expect more governors to defect. I expect even more House members, more senators defect. And it's going to be both ways. We are going to see PDP senators defect, PDP governors defect, APC and what defect?
You think that some PDP governors might defect to the APC?
I think so. I think so.
Where are you looking at? Just give us regions. You don't have to mention names, unless, of course, you want to.
There's a governor in the South I actually think is going to defect to the APC. His romance with the APC is glaring.
Okay.
You know, it's visible to the blind.
Is that the only region that you're seeing?
Well, that is a region I want to use as an example right now. I'm suspecting that a South governor is going to defect to the APC. Because I see his romance with the APC. It might just be plain politics, but the signs are there, glaring signs are there that he has been considering, or that he is still even considering defecting to the APC. You know why? You know why this defection is going to come? Now, as I said earlier on, the mass defection to the PDP is going to make the contest for the available slots very, very rigorous. People are going to contest. You know, now, like for instance, now we're suspecting that even the Senate president has a presidential ambition. Atiku is there. There are about 4 or 5 of them. Kwankwaso is there. Most of them have declared. So what that tells you is that most of them would defect to get tickets in other parties by the time they don't get tickets in the PDP. And that should be expected too when it comes to the gubernatorial tickets.